Oh, it does count down. Okay, great. 5, 4. All right, everyone. Welcome to Entrepreneur Beginnings with Queer HCEO. I'm here with Ayu Karbanda today from India, which is super exciting. He is an entrepreneur just like you and I. And so if y'all have never been with us before, Entrepreneur Beginnings is a podcast and a live stream focused on getting the stories out there of what it was like to become an entrepreneur. And so we focus on how a business owner started, their journey into the business world, both nationally and internationally. And in today's show, we are going to be highlighting QuickBooks. So if you guys are interested in QuickBooks, please feel free to visit me at www.corporatediagnosticcenter.com. And you would be getting 40% off of QuickBooks over the next 6 months. Do you see a little line? All right, perfect. All right, so today we have Ayu Karbanda. So Ayu, what is the company that you have now?
I'm working with Languify.in. We are trying to solve the problem of spoken English among the peoples of India and the non-native speakers.
Excellent. And so that was Languagefy, right?
Yeah, Languify.
Languify. Okay, perfect. And then with Languify, what is the website?
It's www.languify.in.
Perfect. Excellent. And then that's to help native Indian speakers speak English or speak other.
So we are starting with help them improving English and their speaking abilities overall. We give them real-time feedback during meeting. So suppose you and I are in a meeting and we are talking. So I'll have a secret tool with me that will tell me, you are taking too many pauses, or you should greet the person, or you should maybe include better vocabulary. Maybe you're not that engaging. So I'll get a real-time feedback. I can improve upon it, and even after when the meeting is done, I get a detailed report. Right? Okay, this is how I perform. So your ability to communicate effectively is really important for your success.
Wow, I'm fascinated by that because I've worked in call centers for so long that is something that I've always worked on how I speak with people, right? And so I'm usually very patient with people because you do that, but speaking English as a second language culturally could be a struggle, right? And so a lot of times, as an American, it's very easy to talk fast, to speak way too fast, and then somebody that speaks English as a second language doesn't really capture it all. My spouse always tells me to slow down. Like, could you slow down because your friends don't understand anything that you're saying right now?
It happens. It happens.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm just 23. I have done a lot of things in this age, but I have a lot of things planned ahead. I got my education from the top engineering college of India, that's IIT Kanpur, and I felt that I need to do more than engineering. Started to learn about business. I did a course from Harvard. Valentino was there with me, and I have been learning about different things available online. So education has played a big part in my life. I was a nobody in the small town I lived. It and started learning things by my own. Like it's a typical motivational story. So I used to study on my own, and the hard work paid off. Got into the engineering course I talked about, and have been trying to build things now. So I believe when you get the privilege of good quality education, it's a responsibility to do something for the others, to give back. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely. I think that's super commendable. It took me, I'm going to be 40 this year. And so it took me some time to really grasp that idea that like it is a responsibility. And so once when I went, you said Harvard, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And so like when we took those courses, it was mind opening. And so when you think about the way the world works, it gives you a huge responsibility to either take action and make the world a better place, or you can just continue to live the way you're living. So I commend you for
Exactly.
that. Excellent. And then where you said the little town, what is the little town that you were in?
So this will be really good if you like if we have a map of India and you
Okay.
try to find the very center with just your head. And if you put a point on that place, it will definitely come right on top of my head. So it's a very middle of India. The state I live in is called Madhya Pradesh. That means the central state.
Oh,
And the
okay.
place I live in is almost the center of this Madhya Pradesh. So it's really in the center. And
The
it's
center of
near,
the center.
yeah, it's also close by to a place that most people know of in India. It's close by to Sanchi. It's famous for its stupas, the history behind Buddhist monks and Lord Buddha.
That's wonderful. And the reason why I asked you that is because a lot of times when one of my friends hears a place that they're familiar with and they haven't heard it for a long time, it brings them so much joy. And so for
Yep,
someone that's listening, and if they're living in India or they're in the US and they're homesick and they hear you say that name, it will take them to that place in that moment,
definitely.
and it will remind them why they should keep going, right? Why they started their journey to begin with. So that's why I speak to this. I met this random person on Facebook, and he started a Facebook group for travel, and he wanted to show both the beautiful side of India and the more complicated side of India, and he would put them together and then compare it to the rest of the world. And I was like, wow, that was the most. He blew my mind. And so now one of my goals is to go to these places that he posts, because he posts so many of them. And I'm like, I need to go there. I need to go there. Like the Lotus Hall. Is it the Lotus Hall?
Yeah, yep.
The Temple of Lotus, or is it a Lotus Temple?
It's Lotus Temple, but there is a Lotus Hall inside it.
That's wonderful. Excellent. So, what is your so you said you're 23, right? So you
Yep.
started, how long ago did you start? And that's the thing, is that people don't realize when you're an entrepreneur, you start very young. So when do you remember was like that first moment that you knew that you were an entrepreneur, that that was what you were set to do?
I would say 2 years ago, maybe around 2.5 years ago, I did a journey virtually that was across the country. It's called Jagati Yatra. So India is huge, and there is this initiative by Jagrati in which all the young minds who are really relatively young, we go and we travel around the country, visiting all the cultures, meeting people and understanding their problems, how they are solving it, how their cultures are different, and understanding the entire country in a span of 15 days. So I did that, and it really uh, led to me realizing that there is a lot to do. There's a lot to give back to the country, and
Mhm.
there's a lot I can contribute as an entrepreneur compared to an as an employee.
Absolutely.
So I felt okay, this is something that I have to do. And now then I started asking myself, what is something that you are good at?
Mhm.
Uh, so that's the thing I can start my startup with. So uh,
And
th th-
that's a great place to start. That's a good when you have a vision, right? Or when you feel a sense of responsibility and you feel that sense to make a change or to do something different that's against the grain, that's the moment, right? Where you're like, okay,
yeah,
so I have this in me. Now what am I good at? What can I contribute to the bigger picture, right? And
yeah.
so did you find that yet? Because if you haven't, that's fine. I'm 40 and I'm barely finding it.
So I thought of something. I started with a small initiative called Collab. So my idea was the class toppers have the great notes with them, who make great notes, who understand the concepts better than the average class student. So maybe
Yes.
they can teach the other people through their handwritten notes and through their slides and whatever they can prepare. So suppose you want to learn from your topper, he can tell you, okay, I went to all these classes, I made great notes. You can look at them, you can learn from it. So
Yes.
that was my idea. And started working on it, burnt a lot of cash in it, spent 6 months of my time, talked to a lot of people, and it didn't work out. But those 6 months taught me more than any degree out there.
It usually does too. And so what did you, but that's still a skill set that you have that you develop with which the organization of it all, the networking. What did you do with that? Do you still have all the information from what you had built back then?
Definitely. So I'm pivoting to a different idea. So the idea is same. Like the common value I have is education shouldn't be a privilege.
Hmm.
Education is a right in today's time, and high quality education is a right. With internet getting cheaper every day, everyone should have access to good quality education. It shouldn't be that
Absolutely.
if you crack a certain exam, if you impress someone in a certain interview, that's the only case when you will get the education. Everyone should have it. And so I started with this app in which the toppers can teach the non-toppers, whereas now I'm pivoting to a platform that I have created by myself. So I'm just doing it solo on my own, giving all my weekends to this. So
Hmm.
I'm creating a platform on which it's called free ed, simple, free education.
Okay.
And
Excellent.
suppose so it's I believe that there is good content on YouTube, on Wikipedia, and other free platforms. If you can just stack them in the right order and do them in the right order in the right flow, you can get the knowledge that you might get from expensive course, expensive certification. So
Absolutely. And then would you say that so do you have a certification process that people would get along the way within this, or have you thought that far ahead yet with this? Because it's a great
Uh,
idea.
I'm thinking that the need for certifications is reducing every day as we talk. So it's all about how much knowledge you bring to the table. So if people are starting to talk that MBA degrees are not relevant, these college degrees are not relevant, it's in the top tech companies. They just want you to be really skilled and know the job that you are trying to do.
Hmm.
So there will be certifications, but that is like not something that I'm looking at. I'm looking at providing quality content and ensuring that it's free.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
And
think that's
I'm
wonderful.
yeah, I'm getting the right professionals on board. So suppose if Valentino is teaching you an entrepreneurship, business experience, so he knows entrepreneurship better than any professor who hasn't done it. With all due respect to everyone, but they
Hmm.
have experience. Same in the tech industry. If I talk to a data scientist and ask him, okay, how to be a data scientist, it's a really simple question. He can answer you every day because that's what he do.
Yep.
He does every day. So he can create a course around it, and everyone can learn from it. So this is the person who knows how to do the job and how to get the job if you want to.
Excellent. And the demographic in India, are you doing this solely for India, for the people of India, or are you doing this on a global level?
Currently, I'm doing it just for India because the per capita income in India is really bad, and
Yeah.
education is getting expensive every day. So
I asked that because I'm wondering because isn't there how many dialects are there in India? Is it 27 or 35, 37? There's a lot of
there are
dialects.
there are so many. There are like 27 recognized officially. Then
Will
there are
you be
variants of these. Like 27 around are official, and then there are variants of it.
Absolutely. Will you be able to reach out to the people with the dialects that are smaller, with the smaller communities? Because sometimes, they get overlooked, right? I
Right,
noticed that with even within the Hispanic community, I actually had no idea that there was other dialects of Spanish that were native, that were considered like as Native Americans would speak. And so when I went and I looked this up and I said, what do you mean there's a whole nother translation of Spanish? And I was flabbergasted. And then I was like, oh, but then they got left behind. And that's really
right.
unfortunate, right? It's like that's I like what you're doing. That's the only reason why I'm asking to see if that's something that you're gonna help everyone in India take part of.
Right. So, like in India, English is everyone's like pretty much everyone's second language. English is really
Mm,
standard. It's across the country. So everyone speaks English. They study it from very young age. So English is something that unites the country pretty much.
yeah.
And that's why the platform is in English. The courses will be in English. But as we grow further, I'll also have components with regional languages. Have people suppose like if someone doesn't know English. I can
Okay.
have a course for them in their regional language to learn English. That's an easy thing to do.
That's wonderful. Well, when you're ready, you let me know and contact Corporate Diagnostic Center, and we will put you on the website. And you're already going to be on the website for Entrepreneur Beginnings, but I would be more than happy to promote that. And then, if you need a website, do you have a website yet?
I made one myself on WordPress, but I'm not a typical developer. I work with data science and product mostly, but I did it on a
Oh,
side
I'm
and
not
it
a
was not.
data science. I'm not a data scientist. I just make things look pretty. That's it. Like they'll be like, "What are you doing today?" And I'm like, "I don't really know. There's a lot of work, like a lot of misplaced letters and numbers and all this stuff. I'm just trying to make it look good. So I'll do something. I have no idea what I'm doing until it does exactly what I want it to do.
Right.
It's like the blind leading. It's like the mute leading the blind kind of situation, and the mute is like this way, and me, I'm the blind guy, just like okay, let's go. So that's neat. How long has your website been up?
This the latest one has been up for like 4 months, around 4 months.
Okay, cool. And it's
Free.
www.language.
So I talked about two startups with you. The first one, Languify, is working since last year,
Okay. And now we're
and
talking about language free or
uh,
free
free,
ed,
at free,
ed
ed, yeah,
free.
yeah.
And what's the website for that one?
That's currently we are using this like free domain www.free uh, colon ed.ml.
Okay, perfect. And we'll be able to update that. And so just so everybody that's listening and watching right now, so when he does have that, we'll definitely do an update and we'll do a repeat Thursday that will promote when that site is ready to go. So that way you guys can revisit this and tune into that. I think that's wonderful. So one of the things, and you kind of already answered it, but I'm still going to ask you because it's one of the questions I normally ask. So where did this passion come from? Right? Because not everybody has this passion to be a leader the way you are a leader.
Definitely. Before that, I want to tell the viewers that on this website, you can get a free MBA course for everyone. So it's an initiative. So I collected resources from Stanford, from Harvard, from MIT, from top engineering colleges that constitutes the entire syllabus of an MBA.
Oh,
So an MBA is a really expensive degree in the current time, and you can do the same from the best professors out there. We have the best professor for valuation, best professor for accounting, and they teach you these subjects, and you can get it free on the website that Valentin will put in the links somewhere.
that's wonderful. Excellent. And so I would highly recommend people going to that website. And so tell me the website one more time, please.
It's www.free-ed.ml.
Perfect. All right, excellent. Yeah, I think that education should be should be as affordable as possible. I myself, didn't realize that there was actually someone out there that spoke my language until I went to Harvard. And then that was
Yeah,
the first time a professor ever spoke my language because they were able to speak in the way that my brain processes information. Before that, no one ever spoke to me in a way that I
exactly.
could understand.
Yeah. Like when you find the right match with the right teacher, it's like bliss. It's
Hmm.
epiphany that when the person is striking the right chords, you are it feels that you're on the same level, you're talking the right things. I'll answer the question that you asked me why I got the passion to do something like this. So uh, it was early in my teenage. I used to think that I would die someday, and it is not a usual teenage thought, but it was a scary thought that I used to have that I would die someday, and what am I leaving? How will people remember me? Why will they remember me? So again, art. So I read about artists in school poems that there are so many artists who make these brilliant structures, brilliant poems that keep them alive. But I thought I don't know anything like that. What can I do? Then one simple day I was visiting an old age home, and that day I spent time with the old people. and they were like, this was the best day of my life, uh, spending time with you, and I would remember it till the day I die. And that just struck the God. That just because you made someone happier than they were yesterday, they will remember you. So if I make something that adds value to people's life, even when I am gone, I have done my job correctly. So starting with that, I started learning more stuff. I started educating myself. So in my city, there weren't good schools. There still aren't many, but my school teachers were not the best. So I used to study by myself, read the books myself, learn about different examinations by myself, and then study for the examinations by myself, and start like everything was a hustle for me at an early age because I come from a tier three city. So if people know about Mumbai, Delhi, they are tier one or tier one plus. But my city is tier three. It's really small.
Okay.
And so building up from there, I knew that I have to do something. I have to do something. What will I do? How will I do? I never knew. I still don't know. But it's the passion that I have to do something. I have to be remembered. I have to add value to people's life. Even talking to Valentino, I said I'll help you out with your podcast, with your streaming, and I don't have anything that I don't want anything in return for is for my contributions. I would just want people to be happy. I want to
Right.
help people. I have to create something that helps a lot of people. And when I add value to someone else's life, they they become better and they add value to someone else's life.
Exactly. And that was one of when you actually responded. So I didn't think you would ever respond. I'm always online. And if I read a good article, I always give a comment. It's just who I express myself. And the fact that you responded, I was blown away because your article was phenomenal. And I was like, this article was great. Like this person has so much going on because I can articulate myself with words vocally, but if you ask me to repeat what I just said, I could never do that, right? So I'm very poor at writing. So reading your articles and your blogs were amazing. Do you have a direct website towards your blog, or what's the name of your blog?
It's Ayu Kharbanda. It's by my name. It's on Medium. If you just simply search Ayu Kharbanda on Medium, you'll get it. Still, I'll give the direct link to Valentino.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, that's right. It was on Medium, right? So
yeah.
I've been a member of Medium. So it's HTTPS colon // AAYU dash KHARBANDA.medium.com. So I actually go to that website specifically for the most innovative ideas because what people speak about, there's so much truth, right? And then there's such a big audience there. I have not been on that site. That was the last time was seeing your blog there, but your blog from Medium was on LinkedIn, I think is how I got you.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And it's such people. I also want to congratulate you on your 10,000 viewers. That's phenomenal. When I saw that, I was like, 10,000 viewers. I'm lucky if I have two people look at anything that I do. So that's exceptional. That's a huge achievement. And it's only the beginning for you. It's literally
Yeah.
only the beginning. In 20 years, you're going to be as old as me. So like, think about how much you can achieve by then. Phenomenal. And that's one thing that I really do appreciate too, is that as an entrepreneur, we have that drive, right? And you said that you don't know what you're doing, but you already do. You're already in it. You already have a vision. And as long as you continue to, feed into that vision, you're going to be perfectly fine, because in just two movements alone that you were participating in, you are not only helping people better articulate their language skill set, but you're also, in the other hand, providing accessible resources for education for communities within India that are not able to really access it. And that in itself that's more, you have more work ahead of you than you realize. And
That's
that's
that,
same for me.
that's all about it. So whenever so I believe the entrepreneurs are a good community. We help each other. So whenever I see a good entrepreneur building something really great, he's working on it. I can see the work he is putting in it. So I simply connect with them on LinkedIn. I send them a hi. I said I don't need anything from you, but I just want to tell them that you're doing really great. All the best. Go ahead. Your startup idea is great. You're like something personal about them,
Yeah.
because I remember from my own days when someone used to just out of the blue message me that this thing really helped me. It was enough to keep me going for at least like 2 months. I was
Yeah.
done. That's like caffeine for an entrepreneur. Small set of appreciations, a single comment, a single compliment is anything like that an entrepreneur needs. So I will talk about the free ed startup I did. Still I'm doing. So I gave the link to a person, and he was really thankful that uh like the cost of the course was more than his father's annual income.
Hmm.
For he was preparing for an exam
Wow.
called CAT, and he said the cost for that course is more than my father's income. So you would have to sell some cow or some part of a land to do that.
Wow.
So and instead of doing that, he reached out to my platform. He found that the content is high quality as well as in right structure. So he prepared through it, and he's really fine. And that sincere thank you was enough for me to keep going.
Absolutely. And that's really, I'm glad that you said that, because there are people that message me sometimes, and originally I thought they were fake people. But one of them actually, I responded and I said, they were asking me if I needed anybody to work for me, and I said no, not at this time, but thank you. And then like I looked at their page and stuff, and I'm like, do you live in another country? And they're like, oh yes. And I was like, oh excellent. I was like, one day when I'm my own boss, I would definitely hire you. And so then fast forward a couple months, well, guess what? I actually kind of need him. And I was like, so I'm looking into like all of this stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I could afford you yet, but one day I'll be able to. And that little connection, if I am successful in 2 years down the line, his skill set is going to be exactly what I need to help maintain my organization. And he didn't realize by
Right.
him just saying hello to me in that one moment that he doesn't know that he believed in me, but he believed in me. He was one of the only people that believed in me. Thank you, friend from another country. But yeah, he was in the Philippines, and he's a data analyst as well. And so like now I go back and forth with him and check in and see how he's doing. But that connection, like LinkedIn, is such a powerful tool, right? Because you never know who you're going to meet there. That's awesome. So one of the other things that I wanted to know is, so tell us about one of your experiences of becoming an entrepreneur. What is one of the those moments that stuck out to you that you're like, wow, I'm actually like, as an entrepreneur, it's a lot of responsibility, which people don't realize, right? So when did you have that aha moment of like, oh wow, I really did this?
Okay. There are so many aha moments, but it's a difficult question to pinpoint one. But I'll talk about one that occurred pretty recently. So me and the CEO of Languify, we were in a pitch meeting. We were pitching Languify. We were talking about what we are planning to do, the market size, the revenue model, and everything. And we felt like the judges were really happy about the idea, but they had some issues with the business model we were approaching. So they thought that the thing you're doing is perfect, but we're not sure if you'll be able to monetize it in the best possible way. So we said, okay, let's get back. Let's think about things. Let's prepare a better pitch deck. Let's cut the corners and see how we can get better.
Hmm.
And we worked on it. It was a long time. All the co-founders, everyone in the team started together, from the interns till the CEO. We all brainstormed how we can make it work. It was a team moment when everyone was like, let's get it done. I don't know, like we all believed in the idea, and we all wanted to make it work. And everyone was there. We were talking, we were shouting, we were saying that this is how it should work. And after a while, it we revised our business model. We updated it. We made a better pitch deck. We pitched it, and it was successful. The result was success. I think the CEO will release soon officially, but we were
Good.
successful.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. And that's hard. I couldn't imagine. So if somebody asked me what my business model was, and if they said I couldn't monetize on it, the first thing I would say to them is absolutely. I have my projections here, right? So this was 3 weeks before I had a grand opening. And I was like, yep, all I need is 8 clients a day. And if I have 8 clients a day and I never go to sleep again, that's times seven. That's 56 clients. And at the bare minimum, X, Y, and Z, right? So I
Right.
opened on October 16th, and guess what I did? I actually didn't get a client until 3 days ago. And then guess what else I did? I did not add a merchant account, so nobody could actually buy anything from my website up until yesterday. So all my projections are out the window. But even with the projections that I had, because we always think, because we believe in something so much, right? How do we get other people to believe in what we believe in? And that's the
Right.
hardest part. So in
I believe
education, though,
as an entrepreneur, there are the two things. One is what you want to sell. The other one is what people want to buy, and there is a small gap between the two.
oh yeah, very
It's
small.
it's it's this a small gap that you have to bridge, and when it's done, that's like perfect sweet spot. It your product starts to sell like hotcakes.
Absolutely. And that's what my spouse and I were talking about. Is like, have you ever thought about just speaking regular English to people? And I'm like, what are you saying? It's like when you talk, you act like people know what you're talking about. And I was like, but they should. It was like, no one knows what you're talking about. I don't know what you're doing. Like to me, you just sit at a computer for 12 hours, 14 hours a day. And then you come out speaking gibberish. And I was like, no, I do not. Doesn't anybody? Nobody knows. And so then I went to my website and then I looked and I said, no wonder I don't know what I created here. So I had to go and rebrand. And so last night I was up for about 17 hours rebranding everything, reorganizing, because I was like, I'm not selling to business people. I created something for entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs are
Right.
your everyday human beings throughout the world. They don't know lingo. They don't know acronyms. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what they need, right? And so then I went back and I said, let me put this, if I'm going to be the person that's going to empower entrepreneurs worldwide, then what I need to do is speak to people like they're human beings and not do what everybody else did to me, right?
Exactly.
And so for
Like,
you in the educational field, I can see that it would be hard for people to buy into, right? Because if you create an app, are you going to charge per usage or are you going to get funders? Like there's so many different variables when it comes to education.
right. That's true. So this is education initiative. I am keeping completely free. I have no intention of monetizing it because the cost of running it is really low.
Mm-hmm.
So the website I use, the domain was for free, the hosting was for free, and the WordPress template was for free. Everything that costed me was my time, and
Yeah.
I was willing to contribute my time. I worked on weekends for quite a few weekends and build it. And I have literally no intention of monetizing it so soon. What I really want is people to use it and people to benefit from it. Once it starts growing, once it gets to the point that a lot of people are using it, they are finding value in it,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'll try to monetize it just enough to keep it running, to make it sustainable. But I don't want to make it a unicorn, a billion-dollar startup. Not my idea. I just want to help people. So
Yeah.
this is my initiative to help people. So even my blog on Medium, I have kept it really short. So all my articles are less than 2 minutes to read. And it really feels really easy for the readers to
Mm-hmm.
get the knowledge in 2 minutes. But for me, it's really hard because I have to compress everything down, make it short, make it straight to the point, and still keep it clear and still in
Absolutely.
the language that everyone understands. But the hard work pays off when people are grateful for it and people get value out of it. And that's why it's growing because like just 2 minutes article every single day without an so I wrote an article for 120 days without a break. I was ill. I was traveling, I was having personal issues, everything was there. But I
Hmm.
made this a routine that I have to publish every day, no matter what, and get new ideas, research on it,
Why is
find
that?
good.
That's not the first time I've heard that you have to do it every single day. Who told you that? Did somebody in your industry tell you the same thing?
No, no, no. I didn't do for based on an idea. I used to follow Seth Godin. He's a great at marketing. He's a well-renowned person, and he publishes every single day.
Hmm.
And his blogs are like 1 minute read or 2 minute read max. And I used to read his articles. I have been reading his articles since I was in college. So for last
Wow.
4 years, I've been reading his articles. They are phenomenal.
Hmm.
It's on his website. The quality of wisdom this person gives for free is unimaginable. So I thought I should do the same, like not at his level, not anywhere
Yes.
close, but I should try something. And I used to write only assignments of college. So I didn't have any
Hmm.
writing experience. I didn't have a lot of years of experience that show that I have the wisdom. I don't have white hair to show that I am wise. So,
But
but I
you
thought,
still
no,
have
let's.
wisdom. You still have a lot of wisdom to offer. That's one thing that you cannot. If it's one thing that I learned when I was in my 20s, I actually never changed. I'm still the same person, just much older, and I have a larger vocabulary to express what I've always wanted to express. My brain just
Right,
wasn't trained enough to vocalize what I needed to vocalize at that time.
right, right. So I started to write. I gave myself a challenge that I don't know how you'll do it, but you have to get into 5 figures of views, and you have to write. And I knew that if I stopped writing today, I'll stop altogether. So I am a big believer of automating things by building a habit.
Hmm.
So I built a habit of mine that I have to write no matter what. And it was in the lunch hours of my office, so I had to write in the lunch hours. And I set a deadline of 1 hour of writing plus editing. And in the
Hmm.
evening I used to research, but 1 hour every single day, every day without break writing.
Good. And you publish it. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's a huge discipline that it takes people a lifetime to learn. One of the things that my dad used to tell me was like, you need to write every single day. And I was like, why? It was like, you write what you see, write what you think, write what you feel, and same direction. 30 minutes to an hour a day. I like that. So as we come near the end, I do want to say this show is sponsored by Corporate Diagnostics Center. We are having a grand opening on January 3rd of 2021. To all of your viewers and listeners, on January 3rd of 2021, we will be giving away multiple business-to-business services, including free website services to one lucky winner, where they will have a website and an app development consultation, and that will be on January 3rd. But the neat thing about the website is that they will be able to get into my brain of how I see things, and then we'll also be able to provide to them branding. If they want to do rebranding, we're able to create that content for them as well. So we're picking several winners to win different prizes on January 3rd. 2021, starting from 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be a long day because I'm pretty sure no one's going to show up, but I'm still going to show up.
Yeah. That's the thing about entrepreneurs. We show up.
Yeah.
That's like if anyone asked me why some people are successful as an entrepreneur instead of other, I would say that they show up. No
Yeah.
matter how bad the day is, how much the team is failing, how bad the numbers are, they just show up. They are shameless and they are crazy.
Absolutely. 100%. I cannot I was thinking to myself, I was like, when I have a team, I was like, I need to make sure that I'm not a horrible human being because I get really uptight. And I was like, I created something that I literally need 5 people per website that I have opened up. And the second I go to work every day, I have 22 websites up. So that's 22 times 5. That's what I need just to start my company. It's crazy. So I actually am really looking forward to seeing your work. I would like to invite you to have a conversation with you about something that I think may be beneficial for you on your journey. All right. So one of the other questions that I always ask people is, so if there is something that you know now that you wish you would have known when you began your journey into entrepreneurship, what would that be?
I would say I would tell myself to be ready to fail.
Can
Yeah,
you repeat that?
I would ask myself to be ready to fail.
Be ready to fail. Yes.
Yeah. So I would say that you will fail. Don't have fairy tales in your mind. Be ready that you will fail. Don't dishearten yourself. Like I would say, prepare for the worst case. What if it fails? The world won't end. I have a habit of keeping a lot of world maps around me, globes around me, and I believe that I use it as a motivation that okay, are you failed today? Like his startup done. What now? Did the world stop spinning? Does anyone care in this world? No one knows. So why bother? Why get sad? Start over. So I don't think that I should be living a fairy tale that it will work the first time. Every entrepreneur feels that the first time is the right time. So your
Yes.
first startup will succeed. It's the best idea in the world. It's everything the world needs. But as we grow with it, as we spend time with it, the startup idea is like having a baby. It's your baby. It's always beautiful to you, but maybe not for others. And you should be okay with it. So be ready to fail.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it, and so does my ugly baby at the moment. I think that's wonderful advice because if you get used to failure, all that does is it defines your character, and then two, it helps you build resiliency. And one of the things you need to be as an entrepreneur is resilient because every single day when you show up and nothing is working, you have to keep going. No one else is going to do it for you. So, and that's the scary thing about being an entrepreneur is that when you have a vision, if you have not trained somebody to assist your vision in coming to life, when you die, that vision dies. So it's your
True, true.
responsibility to show up every day until your vision comes to life and you've taught somebody how to carry that torch of your vision to make sure it doesn't die out. That's one
Right. Right.
that's one of my biggest pet peeves is that we have these big corporations that started with a very humble vision of somebody wanting to make a difference in the world. But then after decades of them being in business and then the visionary is gone, sometimes the vision is gone as well. And then they focus on
Right.
more monetary things rather than what the purpose of that business was to be to begin with. So I
Right.
appreciate that.
I would say an entrepreneur has to set up an image. So you were talking that you have to be you have to create a rapport with your team. You have to set a standard of work. So if I'm not the hardest working person in the team, I don't deserve to be on the board. Like an entrepreneur has to be the person who works the hardest and who gets the least compliments. That's the truth, but he has to keep going. He has to keep working, and he has to show up on time. So if you're setting up a meeting at 10 p.m., you should be there at 10 p.m., even if no one else is there. You should set up good values in your company that you have to be punctual, you have to trust each other. All these starts from the CEO, the board members,
Yeah.
how they show the values to the other coming employees. And that's how a company works. That's how the vision is propagated. So if a CEO is really passionate about his idea, when he'll
Mm.
speak about it, you can see the shine in his eyes, the smiley he shows, and that really radiates with the team. Go ahead, I cut you in. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, and I'm in agreement with you 100%. So I have another business that I started, and that business was actually my passion. It was like my passion project, right? And so I'm a live streamer, and what I saw there is something very similar to what you see with your organizations, that you can help, that you can be of service. And so I created a team. I ended up becoming an agency owner, and I have my own host now. And so I didn't realize that I was a leader. I hadn't looked at myself like a leader. I never treated myself like a leader. I never acted like a director, because we started off as friends and coworkers. And then when everything was kind of not working the way I had envisioned it to be, I said, what is going on? Like, why can't we get this together? Well, you know what? It was not their fault. Guess whose fault that was? It was my fault, because I did not change. I did not take accountability for me now becoming a leader so quickly. I did not become a director. I did not lay out a plan for them to follow. So how do you expect a team to follow you if you're not being a leader? And so I literally backtracked the other day, and I apologized to them immensely. And I said, I want to say that I apologize, because I realized that I was being your friend and not a director. And I want to be a director, and I want to be your friend. But right now you need a director, so that way we can make sure our agency prospers and is
Right,
successful. That's a huge responsibility. It made my heart palpitate, because I said, these people, and I even thanked them in my first meeting. And I said, thank you for trusting in me and my organization to be part of my agency, because that in itself tells me that you believe in my vision. And so now I have
right,
to work 10 times harder to make sure that I'm successful so they're successful.
right, right.
And that's what
That's true.
leadership is about. Go ahead.
Yeah. We have to be good leaders. It's not optional. Right? Like we have to lead, we have to influence people, and we have to build that aura around us that people are willing to come walk with us.
Yes.
So I believe humans have come so far ahead because we collaborated, not because we are the intelligent people, intelligent species. We collaborate. So the t-shirt I'm wearing is made by someone else. The specs I'm wearing is made by someone else. Other
Yeah.
humans who made this for me, and joining all these things, I'm presenting myself here in front of you. So we work together. And if you believe you're the only person who will take everything ahead, it's really hard.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
haven't seen I haven't seen a person doing everything on his own and still like succeeding. Like it's really hard. So you should always be ready to give help and get help. Ask for help as much as you can. Like I used to think that why would this person help me? Why would this senior director, some startup mentor going to help me? But I said like, what's the obstacle in asking? What's the issue? Like let's ask him. Like let's simply send them a LinkedIn request
Yeah.
and tell them honestly, I'm doing something. I am passionate about it. I'm working on it day in, day out. Can you give me 15 minutes of your time?
Yeah.
Most of the times they will agree. And you have to make sure that you make the best use out of the 15 minutes. And people are there to help you. You just have to ask. Getting help is the best thing I started when I got mature as an entrepreneur. You should
Hmm.
get help. You should ask people. Be okay to sound the stupid person in the room. Be okay to ask what does
All
this
day.
system mean? What's a compound annual growth rate? Why should I care about return to revenue? What's even a TAM? So what is it? Like it's okay to sound dumb as long as people are telling you, people are helping you, and it's okay to be rejected by a lot of people. People are really busy. They have their own lives. They have their own business. They have their own visions. They will reject you. Some of them not in the most politest way, but they will reject you and be okay. As I said,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs have to be shameless. We have to be crazy. Like I don't think like it needs some bit of craziness to be an entrepreneur because when the odds are stacked against you, when every logical cell in your brain tells you to quit, that there is no way this can work. Everything that's logical inside you tells you this is not going to work. It's going down. Then there's just you need just an element of craziness to keep going, to keep following the vision. And in the end, something will work out. I believe like if you keep so like there is something that my mom used to say ever since I was a kid that if you simply drop a drop of water for every second on a piece of rock for years, it will drain down a complete circular cylindrical hole in it.
Hmm.
Just a small drop of water. It will drain down the entire rock. So that's the power of consistency. That's the power of keeping up the hustle, keep going. You just
Absolutely.
have to be shameless. Like one startup fails, start the other. It fails, start the other. Pivot, learn from the last mistake, improve. Just make sure that you're better than yourself. The last, just one thing. Sorry.
No, go
So,
ahead because you're answering the last question, but I'm still going to ask you. But no,
yeah.
this is great.
So one thing is like if you study about power of compounding. So the idea is if you are just 1% better than yesterday, you are a 37 times better person after a year.
I
So you
like
get
that.
37 times better after a year. And that's a big number. That should keep you going. That I don't have to be best in the room. I just have to be better today than I was yesterday. And you'll be fine. Go ahead,
Absolutely.
Valentino.
I want it. So I'm going to ask you the last question, but before I do, I love that. It is okay to sound dumb. I am so brazen when it comes to sounding dumb, and I know, and I apologize right before the words come out of my mouth. I say, what I'm going to ask you is pretty pathetic, and I apologize. I probably should know some of these words, but I do not. And they're like, oh, okay. And so they think that I'm just being polite. No, I'm not. So I went to the store the other day to find out what kind of system I needed to build my apps. And I said, so like they started talking specs and all sorts of gibberish. And I said, so think of an older lady, maybe like 75 years old, and she's coming to you and she wants to know the difference between the blue car and the red car. And all she needs to do is just sit in to see if it's comfortable and if the gas pedal, if it's reachable. That's who I am when I'm buying this computer. I need to know if it's going to do, I don't know all the words. I just need to know if it functions, right? And so they thought
Right.
that I was kidding. And I'm like, no, I want that color and that shape and that little squiggly line over there. I need that all together. It's, it, be bold. Always be bold. Because if you don't ask, you don't know. And sometimes when you get to the back end of life and you realize, wow, I now have access to knowing all these things and I could put it all together. That's a huge responsibility, but thank you. Now I have the tools I need.
Right.
Anyhow, that being said, so I think we're coming up to it. I forgot that, I forgot we have an hour. So what is the best advice? So what is one piece of advice that you would like to give to an entrepreneur out there? Either a brand new entrepreneur. What is that one piece of advice? You kind of gave it, but go ahead.
Right. I would say like these are the words that an entrepreneur should keep in his mind and maybe write it down and place it in front of him if possible. So there are three words. It said be the janitor. So the idea is if you can't be the janitor in your institution, you can't be the CEO. So janitor is a person who keeps the things clean, who makes sure that the things are working. And he's a person who isn't seen that much, who isn't appreciated that much. But he makes sure that the place doesn't stink.
Yeah.
So you have to be the janitor. So you have to be humble. So I always focus on learning from people who are not in the limelight because they know something about the business that I don't know. So there are times that I learn from a small business owner. So the and you should be open. You should be the janitor. The janitor can communicate to the staff in the institute, in the in the school.
Mm.
He is friends with the students. He's friends with the teachers. So he's friends with everyone. So and if you just focus on be the janitor, just being the low key person out there, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You can ask anything. You can be shameless. So an entrepreneur can learn a lot from a janitor, and it's okay.
That's wonderful. I like that. And there's so much truth in that. And when I think of, a lot of people when they find out that I am a CEO, at first they were just like, "Oh, you just gave yourself the title." But today I looked on LinkedIn and they were finally accepted me. Today was the day on LinkedIn where it said recommended jobs for you, CEO, 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 CEO. And I said, wow, I did that in 60 days. Could you imagine what's going to happen over the next 20 years? Amazing work, right? But it's ugly work. It's ugly work.
Yeah, it is. It is.
If
It
you
is.
don't want to do, people are like, you complain a lot. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to complain a lot. It's going to be a train wreck. Change the channel. Like, get off my page if you don't want to hear it, because I want to be vocal about it, because it's living history, right? Whether I fail or I succeed, it is living history. And so I'm all about that.
Exactly.
I do want to say thank you very much. Ayu Karabanda.
Yep.
Perfect. Excellent. And so I do want to invite people to visit him at aayU-khabanda.medium.com. And then if you want to visit his website, which is www.free-ed.m as in Mike, L as in Lima. Again, this is Entrepreneur Beginnings with Queer HCEO. I am the founder and CEO of Corporate Diagnostics Center, and I am also the president of DK International Corporation, which is a talent and marketing company that has gone global recently. So please feel free to follow me. You can visit me at www.corporatediagnosticscenter.com. And feel free to visit my website if you want QuickBooks. QuickBooks is giving away a 40% discount for the first 6 months of service that you have with them for all entrepreneurs. Again, I do want to say, I did not tell you, Happy Diwali. Happy Diwali. A celebration of the lights, right?
Yep.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time. And everybody, please come back next Sunday. We will be speaking with you again. Have a great day.